at the area. Listen, I just want to start this up saying, look at Worcester's a wonderful city. The people in here are wonderful. I've had the pleasure of representing you now for 3 years, and I can tell you, this neighborhood is made up of people who know the neighborhood. They're a community. They know what's right for their community. Now, we have I live in Millbury. We have a women's shelter in Millbury. We are very supportive of the program in Millbury. But the program's a success because the community supports it. This program is not supported by the community. It shouldn't be here. For it to be successful, you need community buy-in. Now, there's been talk about the Dover Amendment. Well, when the Dover Amendment was passed years ago, it was for educational purposes. This has been, Dover Amendment, in my opinion, has been abused and misused every year. Every year we have legislation coming before us to do away with the Dover Amendment. When I know legislation sees initiatives like this, it justifies doing away with the Dover Amendment. It justifies stopping programs like this from coming here and citing in areas where they don't belong. So if you listen, I am supporting your cause. I don't think it should be here. The community obviously doesn't buy in. They know what's best for their children. They know what's best for their safety. And I would ask you in the city to work to relocate this in another area.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you. My name is John Benenda, and I've been the state representative for this area now for 27 years. And in 27 years, I have seen this residential neighborhood, I emphasize that word, residential neighborhood, full of families, full of schools, full of love. And I'm telling you right now, this program, as you're trying to put it down our throat, does not belong at the Anna Maria restaurant. South High, Arthur Sullivan, New Ludlow, and Gates Lane. We have numerous daycare centers. We have shopping plazas. We have small stores. And what the PIP shelter brings is an element of society that's hooked on drugs and alcohol. And the way to sustain those drugs and alcohol is for the men to break into our homes and our cars, and for the women to prostitute themselves. Every street in this district, from Parsons Hill all the way down to Webster Square and out to Cherry Valley, does not deserve this. And Mr. Cuddy, I'm asking you and your staff not to bring this program here. Go someplace else. And I got two other options for you. Number one, go back to the PIP shelter. It's only for 9 or 12 months. You're running a soup kitchen out of there now. And number two, Dr. Barbera just left the city hospital site. Maybe you could take his wing, and then you could move across the street in 9 or 12 months to your Davis Street building. And have you got a foundation in for that building? Is the walls up, the ceilings up? I haven't seen anything built there. I don't think you'll be out of here in a year. I'm asking you.
Personal experience, we're all talking about personal experience. I work in Boston, and where I work, there's 2 of these facilities, whatever we want to call them, PIP shelters, whatever, right around the corner from where I work. The level of crime, the level of vandalism, the level of violence, drugs, and alcohol that comes from it, you can talk all you want. I live in it every day, and I have for the last 5 years. and now you're asking me to come home and live in it after I work in it during the day. And, you know, to be honest with you, that's not why I work so hard. Not why all these people here work so hard. To have a nice house, a nice life for their family, for their children. And it's not right, and I would ask that you don't put it in there. Now, my second question, I do have a question. We talk about the Worcester Police. I see some police officers here. And do you actually have somebody here representing the police department to actually talk about what they think? Like their statistics, what they think? Because some of the detectives that live in my neighborhood say this is an awful idea. So do you have anybody here that's in an official capacity to be able to speak upon what they're going to do?
How are you? I'm Deputy Chief Steve Sargent, and I run the Operations Division. I can tell you that the PIP shelter that we had on Main Street, 701 Main Street, is a lot different than this facility. We have not had the collateral damage that 701 Main Street did. We've had very few calls to talking about Jake's Ave. The facility at Jake's Ave, Queen Street, we did not have the same collateral damage as far as calls for service. The calls for service that we do have are usually inside the building, and they ask us to help escort somebody out.
And then where do they go though, when they're out?
We also, we actually provide the transportation to the facility. So there's always a police officer with the person, 99% of the time. Sometimes they do come in for service during the day, but most of the services now that we've noticed are actually families that are looking for help. Maybe families that may have at one time been with a cousin, a brother, a sister. Now they felt more comfortable not going to a PIP shelter type facility and going to, like I call it the Jake's Ave facility, but the Queen Street Jake's Ave facility, where they can go in, get services, get housing from there. So as far as the police side, we will police you. We will police the area. You will be safe. We'll give 100%, just like the city manager said, that we, on a weekly basis, we look over statistics. If there was a rise in statistics for this area, we would notice that there was a jump in the problem, and we would automatically send resources here. We also have our impact officers. I know somebody mentioned a great idea to have a meeting on a monthly basis. I promise you that our impact officer will facilitate that and make sure that that meeting takes place. And anything that happens in between that month, whether it be 1 week in, 2 weeks in, 1 day in, just make the call. We want to clean this up. If this is where we're going to be policing, then we will take care of it. Wherever the facility is, we're going to have to police it. So if it's here, we'll police it. So.
Listen, I don't even need a microphone. I can just talk. They won't give it to me. But I work in South High School, and I'm telling you that we don't need those kids who already have drugs in school and guns and knives, and we have gang unit up there all the time, and we have to call the police. And you guys come up and you do a great job. Don't get me wrong. But there are gangs in our school and all this other stuff, and we don't need them knowing that they can come down here and buy drugs. And don't tell me that they don't steal drugs at Jake's Ave, because they do. I know they do, because I brought somebody down there 2 weeks ago, and I was afraid for my life being in that place, trying to get someone to get evaluated that I know very closely. So you can say whatever you want to, but I work at South High, and I'm the one that has to call 911. And when they send 2 little cops, when it, we have a
How did you never go right to the height?
my whole life. I have seen where they've had to drag kids out of here, and I don't need my kids to have a dog come up. We have a gang unit here today, because there are gangs in our
He's one of the few that live in the
So
city.
what I'm saying is, if these kids that are 12, 13, 14, 15 years old know that they can come right down the street, well, we can't even keep them in school, okay? I have to drive up the street and we see kids walking, I say, get back to school. Oh, they say, F you, miss. But they always use the word miss.
Mr. Gagnon, if you could just real quickly just touch one more time on the drugs.
Let me just tell you that they do deal drugs, and we don't need our kids knowing that there's drugs right down the street.
Just to, once again, I just want to reiterate,
I'm sorry for being embarrassed.
but you know, the police are a valuable partner, and
Believe me,
Sergeant,
I know. They come to my school every day.
Deputy Chief, they do a fantastic job. Everyone that comes in the facility will be searched. We look for any contraband. There's absolute, yes, there's also going to be routine searches, making sure there's no drugs or alcohol or anything else going on in the facility. Period. Sir.
I have Wayne Meddy, I'm the city councilor in this district. And question, point of question. First is a point. You only get one chance to make a first impression. Getting notices out to neighbors this close to when you're opening, this close to the meeting. Most of the neighbors didn't even hear except for other neighbors contacting them. It's a very poor process in this respect.